All right, top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. Hello, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation that they are in. A moment of silence for all those who have lost their life. Let's remember this, we are still in a pandemic. And having said that, let's also remember we can look up, we can get up, and if we can get up, we can go up. You see the title? Break this volume down some. So let's get to our election watch music and our election music. I'm still saying bye Pinocchio number 45. It is what it is. When I said it was a wrap, I meant it was a wrap. The numbers don't lie. There's no way around numbers. Math is solvable just like science is provable. With that being said, hello everybody, to the people, the bypassers, onlookers, regular supporters, and the like. Let's get to this music. Let's step on it.
You know I did it because my groove is exquisite. It's such a privilege. You want to play with it? I want to lay with it all day with it. Is you with it? Because if you ain't, you got to quit playing with a player. Yeah, thought you was playing.
A fella on the street ball.
Hey, honeybee. How you doing? Yeah.
Dad's getting ready to blast.
Hey, Crystal. How you doing, Crystal? Been a minute, Crystal. How you been?
Ain't the deal. Snoop Dogg in the paint like Big Shaquille. Toss me alive, I'm on the job, I'm hard at work. Freesia, my crossover show will freeze you, teach you. Just a minute, you know I've been down ever since I came up in it. They call me the pick of the litter, the big game spitter. Uncle Bootsy.
Oh, okay, good, honeybee. Krista.
So jam on. I'm doing cause you won't. I'm doing those things you don't. I gotta keep my thoughts strong. We jam on. If I have any more fun today, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take it.
All right, everybody. As I announced 2 days ago, I said it was a wrap. Some people need to recognize spiritual things when they hear spiritual things, but I ain't trying to be spooky, spiritual, or deep. I just know the run that I rock with, there's signs and wonders to follow. Oh my goodness. Okay, again, hey Crystal, how you been? Honey bee and Crystal, how y'all been doing? Good, good. Good news is we are still here in the land of the living. It's another day for everybody to get it right. Now some people was a little nervous the other day. Let's go back to the scoreboard. Georgia, what's up with it? Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay, to all my family that was calling up here asking us what was up here in Michigan, I see y'all. All right, Georgia, Pennsylvania, I see you. I see you. HBCUs, I see you. Voters, I see you. Let's go back to the scoreboard. I'll say it again. The numbers don't lie. People do. Math is always solvable. So the other day when I came out and said he doesn't have a possible path to victory, you get the ones who've been out there forever pontificating. I said, let's really run the numbers. Let's really look at the demographics. Let's look at the makeup. Let's look at the way the ballot was laid out, be it partisan ballot, nonpartisan ballot, or a split ballot. A partisan and a nonpartisan ballot. Let's look at geographic location, who resides in the areas. Let's look at the number of absentee ballots that got sent out. Was the number of absentee ballots that were received back in, so on and so forth. Let's look at information about information. And months ago, I already said the youth was going to come and vote against Donald Trump because he was messing with TikTok. I said that months ago. Months ago, I said the nationalists, people, the nation, people who believe in nation over all other things were going to come and vote against him because they believe that they are saving the nation from a level of destruction that is beyond repair, and anything can be repaired. But they believe in nation over president, nation over all others. Okay, so I'm not surprised that it's really going this way. People are still pontificating about Arizona. No need to pontificate. Math is solvable. All you have to do is run real numbers. And that's why Arizona is still, that's why it is what it is. But now, pulled ahead in Florida. I mean, not Florida, excuse me. Florida's already been called for Pinocchio, number 45. Pulled ahead in Georgia. Pulled ahead in Pennsylvania. It is what it is. Numbers don't lie. Said it was a wrap. Wrap this up. Keep counting, but it's a wrap. So here we go. And this is the Associated Press. PBS got 264. Associated Press got 264. for CNN and the rest of them, whatever. Okay, the way they report is the way they report. And by law, there is no federal law that mandates all news outlets to report the same thing at the same time in regards to federal elections, because if it was, everybody would have to be consistent across the board in terms of electoral college votes and in terms of popular vote. However, that's not the way it is in the United States of America. There are a host of lawsuits being filed by Republican parties, which I can care less about. Whatever. The numbers don't lie. People do. The numbers are going to be the numbers at the end of the day. The numbers going to be the numbers whether you stand there and turn blue in the face or not. That's not going to change the numbers. Period. Math is solvable. Addition, subtraction, division. Here's what it is. Hey, Yvonne May, how you doing? Hey, G Money. How y'all been? Hopefully you've been all right, Yvonne. G Money. Hopefully y'all been good. Again, at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. I don't care how many lawsuits people file. All right, exercise your privilege over here to file lawsuits. We are a litigating nation. America loves to sue and bring lawsuits to court. Fine. But at the end of the day, the numbers are not going to lie. People lie, not the numbers. Math is solvable. We can count. We can add, we can subtract, we can divide. Numbers not going to change. It is what it is. It's going to be Biden and Kamala at the end of the day. Period. I don't care how many votes the Republican Party are trying to stop from being counted as it pertains to Pennsylvania, because they playing games, right? They're trying to play games. But like I said, at the end of the day, it don't even matter because the judges already said what they said in advance and did what they did in advance. And they gave specific postmark dates. It is what it is. And they got an extension approved in their state. So it's going to be what it's going to be, period. So for all the other groups out there exercising your First Amendment rights together, protest, yell, get up, whatever. Talking about stop the vote. Ain't nobody, stop the count. Nobody's getting ready to stop counting nothing. Because just like they can exercise their rights, other groups can show up and exercise their rights as well. This is a democracy over here. But what we're not going to do is let nobody thug the White House like they did with Bush and Gore. No. Because that's when the turned up will get turned up for real. And it will be a turn down for what? So, Biden, 264, Trump, 214. Let me blow this up a little bit. Woo! Wee! Georgia. Biden came back like LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback. Like LL Cool J used to be doing in his raps. Okay. Nevada. Nevada, you know what? Y'all got too much going on. When your election process was explained, I said that's a lot going on, and y'all need to get synchronized with your databases and within that state so you can share information. Y'all got separate databases, so you can't share the information. Y'all need to get synchronized. come up to speed with where we are and where we should be technologically. Get up out the dinosaur age. Okay, that's what I have to say to y'all, Nevada, if y'all reside there, because that I said, shoot, they'll be counting for those 6 electoral college votes until forever. Okay, but how y'all do whatever y'all do, goodness. Pennsylvania. Okay. Um, Biden is up in Pennsylvania too. Hey, P Legal, how you doing? Hey, Fire Mama, how you doing? Hey, Alan. Okay, Fire Mama, I'm going back to your question. Uh, Fire Mama, like, hold on. Fire Mama, like, we still watching the money. Excellent question, Fire Mama. Okay, so Fire Mama question is Trump and his campaign raising money for these court cases? I know he's broke and owes money. I hope the calm comes with acceptance. I'm dancing around the house ecstatic and jubilant. Well, um, the election is over. So they will be raising money for what at this point? What would be their purpose for raising money at this point? Okay. Now, if they have some funds in their reserves, okay, that's spendable. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, they're using the US taxpayers' money. That's what it's going to boil down to. When the dust settles and all is said and done, I guarantee it's going to go back to them using the Americans' taxpayers' money for these lawsuits. They are notorious for doing foolishness like that. So, Fire Mama, hopefully that answers the question. Okay, for Senate seat, oh, for the Senate seat, P Legal, and I know you've been watching it, it was a dead heat. It was 48 and 48. Now for the House, it was 220, Democrats with 220, and the Republicans with 192. Let me see if that's changed real quick. And this is the American Press one that I'm on. And see, the American Press is not updated. Some things they have updated in real time and other things they don't. So I don't even think they have the House updated. So I'll go to see this is what I'm talking about when I say people can report, news outlets can report how they want to report. There is no consistent method for outlets to report by in terms of laws being in place. But let's see. And I'm trying to think, because in Pennsylvania, a seat was picked up. So They should, during the evening time, that should be added. That should have been added. Okay. House seats. Ah, is there P legal? And you said most of these news outlets just up here for entertainment. It's yeah, yeah, yeah. They yeah, yeah. Been some commentators on there that I'm like, why? We don't want to hear from I didn't want to hear from those ones. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. PBS. Um, oh, good. PBS is not talking. Wonderful. Now I can do the share. We just want to see um, the data. We don't want to hear them speaking all the way through, giving their opinions. So, um, that's what it is. Georgia is reporting at 99%, by the way. And so here it is. Senate, 48-48. PBS is interesting. They don't have the update on the House that was updated earlier, but they do have Biden at that 264, which includes Arizona, that people are still pontificating and screaming about because, they say they still counting. Yes, they are. Well, Trump is whatever, whatever. Okay, but like they said, what's out there in terms of the lay of the land and where the votes are coming from, they expected him to get some more, but they already said that days ago. He wasn't going to catch up because what's out there for the Democratic territories is going to far outweigh anything that would come in from the Republican counties or Republican leading counties. And what's been interesting, by the way, is um, some of them votes that were coming in from some of the Republican counties, a few were for Biden. Some of them turned around and voted for Biden in some of these places. But again, that goes back to some Republicans coming out in Alaska. Let me not forget Alaska. That's 3 electoral college votes. And who didn't expect a Republican to get Alaska or that to be Republican leading in terms of political parties here in the United States of America? But here it is. Yes, Yvonne, tied. They're tied. But they may have picked up another one on the Democrat side, though, Yvonne, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, this is PBS. What I was showing earlier was Associated Press. And so with the news outlets, like I said, because federally they're not mandated to all report the same way during the election process, this is how they report what they report. Okay. But what I like to do is I like to look at county by county, what's coming in by county. So earlier, I just spent the day kind of listening to and watching where specific counties were in terms of a vote. And see, like I said on here, Democrats got 220 in the House, and PBS don't even have that updated. So it would be nice if everybody was going to report like a symphony and harmony, like it was. That would be perfect if news outlets did that in terms of election results. But again, they don't. They all have their own methodology in terms of reporting, how they report what they report as it pertains to election results. So something else that I've been noticing is Pinocchio number 45. The news anchors are doing something that they should have done 4 years ago. This week, they've been doing something that they should have done 4 years ago. When Pinocchio has been coming out to lie, they have been abruptly cutting that coverage of him off and going to something else. Well, it only took them almost 4 years to do that. They should have did that 4 years ago in these press conferences. As soon as he come out and started lying, they should have stopped covering and went to something else. Now, this week, they've been like, oh, he's not telling the truth. And they cut quickly to something else. So that's something I've been noticing too. It only took them 4 years to finally get there, almost 4 years to finally get there. That should have been 4 years ago. Hey, Dre Day. Yvonne, you clapping? Me too. Yeah. P Legal, they do have counts missing from Black districts. Yeah, hey Dre Day, how you doing? So it lets us know as a people over here in the United States, because we are a democracy, how important it is for us to be involved in the voting process over here, because like I said, that's a part of our voice and it's just a fraction of it. But we know when laws are passed, they impact all of us who are US citizens. It's not just going to impact this one and not affect that one. That's not the way it works over here. So that's why we need to stay actively engaged in the process. And if we don't like the choices that are out there, you don't like the choices that are out there, I cannot say it enough. You run for the office and be the change you want to see. You run. You don't like what you're seeing in your area, you don't like what you're seeing at a federal level, you run and be the change that you want to see. You run for that seat. So you can be the one up there legislating, voting yes and no on behalf of policies, laws, regulation, legislations. So let me go back and pull it. So So I need to go back and see. Mm, I thought PBS would have showed it. Well, PBS is showing it different at the bottom. What's this? Okay, wait a minute. So, it all the news sites still showing it. All of them. Okay, everybody is trying. Let's see who's the most accurate in terms of information in real time. No, they not. This news site is not even. You can't have y'all 2 days behind, dollar short and days late on info. I don't like that. I would that all reporting would be in real time. Okay. I'm just going through looking for a news channel who's going to show the 220 that the Senate got, because and not doing all this talking through here. Not you. I'm trying to get away from her. No, I don't want to hear her. Okay, he's speaking on Pennsylvania. He said Pennsylvania is going to stay covered. They don't care what nobody's saying. Here we go. They still come.
Tomorrow, the lead will be beyond the requirement, the triggering number for a recount, which is 0.5%. I think his lead now is about 0.3%, but that he'll go beyond that. I don't know if it'll happen tonight or tomorrow, but once you get beyond that, and once the margin of victory gets beyond that, you're going to have a
Here's the Senate
circumstance
on the
where
side.
it'll be even clearer that he's the winner.
Now, pivoting away from election for a moment, the U.S. and Pennsylvania shattered single-day COVID case records this week, regardless of what happens with the race for the White House. Do you believe that Congress will act on a relief package before the new term begins to address both containing the virus and dealing with the economic impact? And any concern that President Trump won't make this a priority?
Well, the latter question is a real concern, because the president, even leading up to his election, didn't seem to prioritize
I'm waiting for them to flash
the work that has to get done to
House
urge
of
the Congress to strike a deal on a relief bill, because I think it should be done. The work that has to get done that leads to a consensus and deal should be done right away. We should get this done in, I hope, late November, but certainly by early December. I realize that that's it's hazardous to guess, but that's what we should do. People who are unemployed,
you already know people been needing
small
help a long
businesses
time ago. People always need help in America. So, again, Yvonne, I was waiting to for them to flash that 220, because they jumping from the Senate to Biden to Trump electoral college votes, and then they're doing, state by state terms of states that are still out counting. And in Pennsylvania, you heard him. He said they're not going to stop counting. He don't care what nobody's talking about. They're going to keep counting. And in Georgia, it looks like it's going to be an automatic recount. Also in Pennsylvania, it looks like it's going to be a recount. I don't care if they recount because the numbers don't lie. People do. So at the end of the day, the numbers going to be the numbers. And they can get their stuff and they can get to stepping. Now, for people who are concerned about whether or not Trump is going to leave office, the White House, if he's going to leave or he's going to stay, he's going to have to leave. Because they'll use the military to get him out. They have that right. Not only that, they can charge him with trespassing and get him out by law. Federal laws over here. So he can sit up and act like the person he's been acting all his life if he wants to. He can go ahead and test the waters if he wants to. And he gonna find out the water is boiling hot. Hey, Flower, how you doing? You said under a new presidency, news outlets would be sued for their complicit behavior doing it. You know what? Thank you, little mama. I gotta say thanks to little mama. She should have been. Thanks, little mama. Make sure. Yes. You said good. Get out. Right, Pete Legal. Dre Day, you say he's gonna leave, but it's not gonna be gracefully. Don't nobody care. You can leave voluntarily or involuntarily, which way you want to roll. He can either get carried out in straitjacket and handcuffs, or he can just leave voluntarily. It's all up to him. But by law, he can be charged with trespassing. He can keep playing games if he wants to. He gonna get the reward that he should have got a long time ago for playing the games that he's been playing. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like I said, Congress, they have the authority. They have legal authority to enforce the laws over here and get them up out of there, should they need to. And they should have had him handcuffed and brought before Congress when he pulled that contempt of Congress move. Because he is impeached, by the way. Need anybody forget? Lest anybody forget. This one is still impeached. They should have cuffed him up then and brought him on. I already know I would have went hard in the paint. Go tap him and bring him on up here. He can come in handcuffs. He can come without. Whichever we want to come, and bring him right on up in here to come. See, some things they could have did that they were a little bit too soft on to me. No, you don't sit up here and defy the laws that everybody's supposed to be abiding by. This is the problem with America's psychology. They tend to have respect of persons. You treat this one like the cream de la creme and let them get away with everything under the sun, under the table, and in Hades. And then this one, as soon as a penny drop, as soon as they drop a penny, you pounce on them and you want to throw them under the house, a bus, and in a dungeon. See, America needs to move away from that stinking psychological way of thinking. And it goes like this. Since you a U.S. citizen and you over here, you're supposed to abide by the law, because if you break the law, you're supposed to be rewarded for breaking the law. Nobody gets a pass. Nobody should be getting privileges. I don't care if it's the police, the president, whoever, whatever. Need to be even killed straight across the board, but it's never been that way. And so you get situations like this. For the last 4 years, they sit up here and watch him be lawless in their face. Like, I could not have been sitting up there in Congress and you be carrying on like that while I'm up there, because it would have been all hands on deck. Turned down for what mode? Every day, all day. Oh, Yvonne, I want them to take the Senate too. Right. Get them for treason. Dre, it's so many things they could have gotten for that they didn't. Right, P legal. And that's what I've been waiting on. I've been waiting on more class action lawsuits to come from U.S. citizens whose family has died from coronavirus. I really have. I've been waiting for them to go ahead and sue for all of that lying, misinformation, misleading information, fake information coming from news sources that led to the detriment of some people's life. Right, Yvonne. When it comes to Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, unfortunately, they back in the Senate again. And it's really unfortunate. I would that Kentucky would be about their game, and Carolina would have been about their game too. But they do need to be the ones with the majority in the Senate. So all them bills that was dead on arrival that were good can go ahead and move through. So they can go ahead and move through there, like the one on the study of for reparations. So that can go ahead and move through there. They need to rework that HEROES Act bill. They need to go ahead and they need to make some amendments and adjustments to that and add some more things in that. And then that could move through. They need to edit that. They need to modify that. Because they got some stuff in there that, no, that's a no-go area for me. So, Yvonne, I would that they do get the Senate. But when they get the Senate, they need to go in there with full force authority and not play these games that they usually play when they get in there. Oh, we want to see if they want to do this. Oh, they don't want to do that. Oh, they said we can't do this because they're worried about the deficit. They haven't been the Republicans haven't said a single thing about the deficit in the last 4 years. See, when it's a Republican president in there, nobody really be talking about the deficit like that until a Democratic or independent president get in there. We haven't really had an independent president in it. Then they want to scream deficit, 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 and there's no money for nothing. But why it's a Republican president in there, it's money for everything under the sun. In their mind. See, they don't need to let them play them games. And when if they do get the Senate, they need to change the Senate rules. Rule number 1, the Senate Majority Leader, he cannot shut down legislation. He cannot shut down the legislation from being brought to the floor. They need to change that promptly. You got 30 days to bring the legislation through the floor. period. 30 days. If legislation is not brought to the floor in 30 days, unless there's something tragic going on, then the penalties need to just roll on down. See, they need to stop playing these games. They've been playing too many games. Don't have time for games. See, and unfortunately, the Democrats let them sit up there the last 4 years, and because Mitch McConnell was majority leader, and they did have control of the Senate and run these games. You be able to sit up there and run them games on me all day. You didn't come here to play, came to work. And we didn't just come to work for big business and get them every tax break under the sun. That's all the Careless Act was. Every tax break under the sun went to big business. Every little piece of welfare that they can get off the Americans' taxpayers' back went to big business in that Careless Act bill, and turned around and told American citizens, this is unprecedented, and we'll give you $1,200 back out of your federal tax money that you have been paying into the system for years. All you get to get is $1,200. That's what we're going to give you. $1,200 of your tax money back. Federal income tax money back. That's what y'all get to get. And everybody ain't getting that. That's what we're going to do. But big business get to get everything. See, that was a game. That was a joke. That was a joke. And then tell you it's unprecedented, and you should be grateful and appreciative of getting some of your money back. Who they think they playing with? And some people didn't even get that. Big businesses got all the breaks, and the American people got the shaft. The American taxpayers got the shaft. Period. Let me say it again. Big businesses got all the breaks in that Careless Act, and the American people got the shaft. Hey, John, how you doing? P. Legal, you said they need to take it all to court? Right, Yvonne. Too much power for one person. Too much power. Yes, Yvonne, we covered that with the prisoners able to get their stimulus because they didn't exclude the prisoners. Yeah, we covered that over here. And the judge told them, you didn't write that clause in there. When President Obama was president and U.S. citizens got a stimulus, that clause was written in there that prisoners would be excluded. Well, in this Careless Act, they didn't put it in there. And I said, kudos to the prisoners who can read. Kudos to the prisoners who be paying attention. You want your money back, Flower, from your 401k? Ah, Yvonne, they did give the farmers a lot of money. Yeah, they sure did. They sure did, Yvonne. Yes, they did. So, like I said, if Democrats get control of the Senate, it's what they're going to do when they're in control. Whoever is going there, it's about what they're going to do when they get there. And the urgency of now has far past us years ago. They don't have time to go there and play these games and want to be in the media all day pontificating about legislation that they're supposed to be up there writing and passing. There's no need to pontificate about whether a moratorium should have been given on housing market. There wasn't no need to pontificate about that. We was in a pandemic. They didn't have to think about that. All they had to do was write it in a bill. The first one, the Careless Act, that was sponsored by Mitch McConnell. Wasn't no need to pontificate about that. Free health care, covering all pre-existing conditions. No need to pontificate about that either. It was a medical pandemic. It's a medical pandemic. It's a medical emergency. No need to pontificate about that either. That should have been written in there specifically in the first Careless Act, as they want to call it, CARES Act, as they want to call it. Should have been written in there. Was no need to pontificate about whether people will be eating food. People who don't normally get assistance that they pay into the system. They pay into the system. Got U.S. taxpayers paying into the system. No need to pontificate about whether you're going to help them out to eat. No need to pontificate about that. See, stuff that makes sense, they shouldn't have been pontificating about. It should have been in that first bill. No need to pontificate whether, it's going to be a stay on insurance companies. No need to pontificate whether or not it's going to be a stay on credit scores and credit ratings. See, all of that. That should have been in there. No need to pontificate whether or not we're going to be shutting off people water and electricity during a pandemic. No need for pontification. Writing it in there and pass it, but they didn't do it. No need to pontificate about student loans. And you in a pandemic. See, some of this stuff didn't take that much knowledge or wherewithal to do. Could have been in there, but they didn't do it. So, Democrats got 220 in the House, Republicans still at 190 something. It's a dead heat in terms of the Senate. The last time we checked it, even kilter. If Democrats and independents get that authority again, they better go to work for the U.S. citizen and stop playing these games. Stop playing games. Don't come out and call something unprecedented for America when it's not. Because the fact of the matter is, people have lost their homes since this pandemic. People have moved away. People are living in cars since the pandemic. People don't have shelter. Some people still don't have food. That's the fact of that's the reality of the situation. But they think people got time to play all day. Nobody have time to play no games all day. They better go up there and do their job. Stop trying to run out in front of the camera. Talking about this is unprecedented. And telling U.S. citizens they should be acting like we should be thankful. Thankful for what? In terms of them utilizing our money, tax money, as they see fit. Excuse me. What? Yeah, Yvonne. So a lot of this, right, Crystal, a lot of this in P Legal and Flower, a lot of this was no-brainer. A lot of this should have been a no-brainer when it came to these bills. Now, in the HEROES Act, they wrote a little bit more in there, but to me, it didn't go far enough. Like, it just didn't go far enough. It should have been a no-brainer that unemployment, that $600 additional would last until next year, not until the end of July. Are you talking about this is a pandemic? We haven't seen a pandemic like this since 1918 with the Spanish flu, 102 years ago. And it is unfortunate you find history repeating itself. The president then was lying about the facts of the Spanish flu. Was lying. Was lying then. Didn't want to tell the truth. Was intentionally making sure the truth didn't hit news articles and news outlets. intentionally making sure they didn't report the truth. 102 years later, United States of America, what have we learned as a nation? We should have learned that during any pandemic, we need to always tell the truth and follow the research. Follow the facts. Always tell the truth and follow the facts. To me, 102 years later, most of this stuff was avoidable. 102 years later, doing the same stuff did 102 years ago. At least 102 years ago, when they did finally take it seriously, even though some always took it seriously, by law, people were mandated to wear masks. By law, at least 102 years ago, when the Spanish flu did hit, by law, if you were going to be out in public, it was a mandate that you had to wear a mask. Now, they weren't wearing a mask 102 years ago. They ended up in jail. At least they did some things and had some mother wit to do some things differently in some regards than where we are today. And I need people to remember that while we are in this pandemic, all this medical research, all this scientific research, we are supposed to be so far advanced, so far on top of our game, and we not. There is no possible reason that 120,000 people should have died from coronavirus, aka SARS-2. There is no way. No way. When all we had to do was go back through history and figure out every step of the way what was done and what we would do differently this time. See, we don't have time for Congress and senators to be up there playing them games. And they sure shouldn't have been playing games with Trump. And you know he's a known pathological liar. Why would you play a game? The news media, they got to own theirs too, because they set up and covered that mess. And what they should have did 4 years ago when he started lying is like they've been doing the last few days. Cut away from the press conference and go to something else. Abruptly in that press conference, abruptly in that coverage, and go to something else, like the truth and the facts. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I get the United States a Z in the handling of this pandemic overall. The United States get a Z minus. The way this stuff was handled, from the legislation that was passed and everything else, it's a Z minus. A Z. Z minus. Right, Yvonne, it should have been a no-brainer. Yeah, John, I know you said they were still counting Arizona, but Arizona still has already been called for Joe Biden. PBS has called it for Joe Biden. Associated Press had called it. Other news outlets had already called it. They said they're going to continue to count. Like they were not going to stop counting. But they know what's out there. They know where the votes lie. They know where the votes lie. Based off what they have. They know who is going, basically know who is going towards. They basically know who is geared towards based on the county that it's coming from and based on how the people from those specific counties count. Now they are still counting, but like I said, in this, when we looked at it, and I'll pull it up again, it's already factored into the 264. So they're not taking that away. And even more people are reporting it now, even though some are not, but some news outlets are reporting it, and they're reporting it based on them being in the ground and the way that they crunch the numbers. Like I said, at the end of the day, the math is not going to lie. The numbers is not going to lie. We already know that math is solvable. Science is provable. So that's not going to change. Like they still counting North Carolina. They still counting Pennsylvania. They're going to be counting Nevada, it seems like, for forever to a degree, based on what I heard them come out and say in the news from that state. And it's the process that they have there in place as to why it's taken the time that it's taken for Nevada to count. And some of these other areas, it's the processes that are in place. Like when Trump was up here and I said he's not going to get Michigan because Wayne County was still counting and Oakland was still counting. I said, that's where all the population is. That's where the majority of the people reside in this state. They're going to run the numbers up. And they did. And so in Arizona, the counts that are coming in, even though Trump has gotten some, they still, the areas that is dominantly that still needs to be counted, they're going to run the numbers up for Biden. That's why they went ahead days back and said, and it's people on the ground, it's different news outlets on the ground. And right when the counts are being tallied up to a certain number, they go ahead and they send it out to other news outlets, or they update it in real time on their own for their specific news outlets if they're there. Because you have all these different outlets, you know, in like Pennsylvania, they on the ground. They on the ground in Georgia, they on the ground. And so they had their reporters there out in the field, standing right there. So when they get them tallies, they can go ahead so it can be updated. But I know they still count Arizona, but it's still called for. It's already tallied into Joe Biden's number. Like we still counting a little bit in Michigan, but it didn't matter because Oakland and Wayne, you already knew what it was. You already know what it is. If you know the demographics of the geographic location of the areas that in the states where you reside, well, then you can basically say, then you know the population size, you crunching the numbers, X amount of people voted from this county, and you know you have a partisan ballot. That means it's no splitting, it's switching across the ballot, or you know you have a half partisan ballot in one section in the presidential sections, and you know you got a bipartisan ballot or a nonpartisan ballot in the other sections. You already know that if that person was going to be registered as a Democrat, it was going to be straight down the ticket. It had to stick with Democratic Party. Or if that person was going to be registered themselves that year as Republican or deemed themselves Republican, they had to go straight down the ticket and strict with the Republicans unless they chose to write somebody else in on that partisan section of the ballot. And then the nonpartisan section, it was you can choose whoever and cross over. So like they said, and there's, you know, they're not backing off of it. Associated Press, PBS, and the rest of the news outlets that have Arizona and Biden category, they're not backing off of it. Like they said, they on the ground every day. And they don't care how many more votes come in for Trump, he's not going to catch up and surpass where Biden is at in that state. So I know they've been on the news all day today earlier too, talking, but So Arizona really is not in play. Oh no, John, it's not in play. Just like Michigan wasn't in play. We still counting in Michigan. What I said, you got areas that got 1 million people and the small counties only have 50,000 people. You're not getting ready to bypass 1 million people vote with your little 5,000 coming from your little counties. And I don't care how many counties you adding up. They didn't have that many counties to add up. When you know the people, most of your population is residing in the counties that's carrying 1 million plus people, and you know the smaller outer counties and rural areas only got like 5,000, 20,000 here, they're not going to catch up because the population, the majority of the population in the counties that are heavily populated like that, they're going to run the numbers up in the votes and blow through any number that could. But here it is, John. I showed it a bit ago from PBS too, 264. That 264 that's up there, that's because Arizona has already gone to Joe Biden. Just like on PBS. PBS is reporting it the same way now. They already got it over there because they're saying, we don't care how many votes we have left to count. If you know it's a partisan ballot where you couldn't skip and jump, you know how many registered Democrats you sent the ballot to. You know how many registered Republicans you sent the ballot to. You know how many independents you sent your ballot to. You know how many of what was sent out, and you know what you should have coming back. They already got them there. They know how many they have left to count. And they know whether it's going to be an influx of Republican ballots that are there, or whether it's going to be an influx of Democratic ballots left to count. And what they did was the way that most of the states did this year, because absentee ballot was up tremendously. We in a pandemic, so we expected it to be up. More people voted absentee ballot this year in record-breaking numbers in the United States of America. We never had this amount of people vote by absentee. And we expected that because we in a pandemic. So more people voted by absentee. And what they did, the process in most of these states, in every state that I've heard, what they did was, and I figured they would do it this way anyway, was they went in and they started counting people who voted the day of first. They counted those ballots first, and then they put the absentee ballots off to the side and started counting them last. And so overwhelmingly, it's been the majority of absentee voters have been voting for Biden. It's been heavy Democratic territory. So now you get down to the end. And you're counting just the absentee ballots. You already got the same day voting out the way. You on the absentee ballots now. And that's how Joe Biden has been catching up. That's how he caught up in Georgia. That's how he caught up in Pennsylvania. And now he's ahead of Trump in those states in terms of that count. Well, in Arizona, they keep saying, and I'm hearing different people reporting it differently, but at the end of the day, the Secretary of State already said, and others already said, we don't care how you slice it and dice it. It's not enough absentee ballots left for Trump to catch up in Arizona. And so that's why, like I said, PBS, Associated Press, and other news outlet just went ahead. It said Biden. That's how Biden is at 264 and Trump is at 214. They say Trump is not going to catch up. They're going to continue to count. Yeah, by law, you have to. That's the Democratic way. When I say Democratic way, that's the democratorial way to do it. Because it's a democracy over here. We vote. So yeah, you're going to continue to count. But that still don't mean, he'll get some, but he's not getting ready to transcend where Biden is at. So that's why they gave it to him. And see, still right there. So it was right there the other day when I said it. Just like they saying Nevada. They counting, but Trump is not getting ready to catch up. They're gonna continue to count, but most of the areas that vote Republican, they already been counted. They've already reported them in at 98%. So that's why, and I'll explain it again, why I said, okay, they run the numbers. You start running the numbers and look at county by county, it's a wrap. Because the numbers don't lie. The numbers do not lie. And what's been happening is, and it's unfortunate, they've been finding some ballots from some urban areas that should be counted. Now, and at the end of the day, I if I have to do a theory, I would say they're gonna find some more ballots out there that people try to, and it's unfortunate that people would not have integrity and try to throw somebody else's ballot away and not count it when they are a U.S. citizen. So they finding some stuff in some urban areas where Black people reside that didn't get counted. It's a shame. I believe every ballot should be counted. Count all the ballots. People voted, count them all. What we doing? No, this is a democracy over here. I don't believe in communism. This is a democracy. So everybody ballot should be counted. Every U.S. citizen ballot should be counted. Then you get these, the spin on story with people coming out talking about illegal ballot. What is an illegal ballot? So that's why they called it. I just wanted to explain it again. Right, John. Because Georgia's gonna go into an automatic count off, recount, and Pennsylvania is going. It looks like they headed for automatic recount too because it's extremely close. Okay. Hey, Coke Pepsi, how you doing? Oh, John, I'm calling it. You said none of us can call anything at this point? I'm calling it based on the math. I'm looking at percentages. That's why I called it the other day. Math is solvable. I was sitting up there running the numbers with them. That's the first thing I wanted to go do, is run the numbers, because math is solvable. We can solve math problems. But in terms of, I understand what you're saying in terms of declaring a president right now, John, and I know that's what you're saying in terms of coming out officially and saying for all of America and all of Americans that this is the next president of the United States of America. We must still keep counting, even though we know the votes that are being counted are trending heavily for Joe Biden. I mean, he has been above that 59% threshold of everything that's being counted right now going towards his way. In Georgia and in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, you got to keep counting. That's still leaning towards Trump. Alaska, that's 3 electoral college. I expect for that to go to Trump. But yeah, in terms of the conceding taking place, you know, and unfortunately, many people have been pontificating about whether or not Donald Trump will concede and actually go with the numbers, which are provable because math is solvable. We don't have to say we got 2 if we know we have 20 and we counted out 20. We're not going to call it 2. We're going to call it what it is, 20. So in terms of that, but again, whether he does, whether he doesn't, it's going to be. Yeah, John, lawsuits have been filed, and some of these lawsuits have been tossed out because they've been absolutely frivolous. Unfortunately, the Republican parties have put in, and they tried it in this state too. They tried, not only did they try it in this state, they had fake Russian news going around in this state today, a fake article out there, and it was from Russia saying that it was Flint, Michigan, who was stuffing ballots. And the picture was from Russia. It was a Russian picture. So you still got fake information being floated. And outlets are trying to really, especially social media outlets, they really trying to, you know, get a handle on misinformation, the lies, and the fake information. They are really trying to get a handle on it. Hey, Royalty Rain, how you doing? Again, hello, Cold Pepsi. Oh, I'm doing good, Cole. Right, Yvonne. What is an illegal ballot? I mean, what is that? But John, yes, it is being said that Pennsylvania is probably going to go into an automatic recount, just like Georgia, because it's so close. It is so close in those 2 states. So, where Joe Biden has surged ahead. Yeah, Yvonne, I went ahead and called it. Chris, you said at the end of the day, God has the last say, so he has us up on one expiration date coming in and leaving now. Can't no one predict that. Oh, goodness. Yes, Crystal. As I said the other day, people be holding on to stuff that God had already replaced and said time is up. It'd be people holding on. See, people, God is steady to remove. It'd be people that still be holding on to stuff. He consistent with his work for people who believe in a God, whatever God they believe in. He's steady to move, you know, for those who believe. Oh, good, Royalty Rain. Good. So getting back to our democracy and the democratic process over here in the United States of America. Because again, like I said, we are not a communist nation. It's unfortunate that every presidential cycle, it is some type of scandal taking place. And I got to call it what it is. It's something scandalous that always happens. It's always got to be some type of scandal or, you know, something. It is really unfortunate. So we as US citizens, we have to make sure we are protecting the election process over here. And one of the remedies and solutions for that is to make sure that U.S. elections are a national paid holiday. People can be off of their jobs. They don't have to go to work, and they can go vote. And they can go vote. So you don't get people at polls trying to intimidate people and all this other stuff, and people with misinformation. We have got to make sure that voting is a national paid holiday in the United States of America. That's one way. Also, it needs to be some federal election laws in place. In addition to what's already on the books, some amendments need to be made. So, you know, we have to continue to stay engaged. Like I said, after election season, what usually happens is part of America becomes disengaged in the process. Well, just because people get voted on, that don't mean the work stop. That don't mean you disengage. Now, you can go refresh, renew, revitalize, and revigor, you know, and refire yourself up, get some rest, and come back fresh. But that don't mean you just actively disengage yourself out of the process and throw your hands up and like, okay, it's over until next 4 years or 2 years and it's time to vote for something else. No, you stay actively engaged. We have to stay actively engaged in the process. We have to hold elected officials accountable for what they are doing. You don't throw your hands up and be like, okay, they there, and think that they're going to do everything that's advantageous for people, because we already know it don't work that way. We can tell that based on the bills that have been passed. A lot of bills that passed that shouldn't have passed. We already know it's not going to work that way. It is our responsibility as U.S. citizens to hold them accountable when they get there. And if they are not working on behalf of the people, then they need to be fired. They need to be terminated. And the way you terminate them is in a recall. So that's another law that needs to be on the book at a federal level, that in all 50 states, hear me good, in all 50 states, any elected official needs to be able to be recalled. Anybody you vote in, you need to be able to recall out. And it is so unfortunate that in Kentucky, like Cameron, he need to be recalled as a attorney general. They need to get him up out of there for that mess he pulled in terms of justice for Breonna Taylor. They need to get him out. You got anybody in there blocking justice for people who are supposed to be in there working for people? They need to go. OUT out. See, it is unfortunate over here in the United States of America, we have 50 states. Some states can recall all elected officials, and then some states can't. Or some states can recall this one and can't recall that one. Well, if you voted on them, you voted for them, you voted them in, you need to be able to go on here, recall, and vote them out, get them out. So we need to work to get that on there. It's a lot of things we need. We know we need police reform on there. More police reform on there. We know police reform passed the House this year, and it was dead in the Senate. That's why we need reform on laws that govern the Senate and Congress. It's a lot of work to be done. We have to actively stay engaged. We don't wash our hands. It's the young man in Texas. I was trying to figure out what state it was in. The young man in Texas who got beat up on his parents' front door by the police officer. They tasing him, and then they charging him as a felon. The teenager, he's young, because they said he fled from the car. Well, he was in his driveway. He was in his parents' driveway. He was at his home where he resided. And he did not flee from the car. He didn't run. He had his hands up the entire time, calling for his dad And his mom ended up opening the door, and the police gonna tell her, the male officer gonna tell her, she can get some of this too, you know, whatever you, and I'm paraphrasing, you can get some of this too. See, we have got to reform the way things are over here. We've got to change it at a federal level and not give states the liberty to say our state won't be abiding by federal law. Yes, your state will be abiding by federal law. Yes, it will. Yeah. Like if we need the officers to be charged, well, guess what? They'll get charged. If we need them to be terminated immediately, guess what? They'll be terminated. If we need them to be sued by family members individually and personally, saying that they can have no immunity, that they're not immune from lawsuits, well, guess what? All 50 states gonna rock that way. Period. See, we have to actively stay engaged as people over here in the United States of America. Like I said, just because officials got elected don't mean we throw our hands up and say Rob, whatever will be, we can go back to sleep now and we don't have to stay engaged. No, that is not true, because when you disengage, that's when some slick stuff gets slid through there. That's when justice is never achieved to the degree that it should be. This work don't stop. Like I said, you can take a rest, but this work don't stop. The work don't stop until you expire off the earth, until you no longer exist here. That's when the work stops. Other than that, we got to keep this moving. Oh, really, John? To go into an automatic recount? But I know by law, Georgia and Pennsylvania have to go into a recount. By law, that's state law. That's law. Yeah, that's by law. Right. Flower Bloom, it's the abuse of power. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, P. Legal. That your uncle was killed in your aunt's house by the police. That's a tragedy. That's tragic. I am so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. So we have to continue to do the work. Like I said, right now, in my mind, it's still a wrap. I'm not backing up off of it. They're gonna continue to count. Nobody's gonna stop counting. Like Trump said, like he's been saying for the last few days, stop the count, stop the count. No, nobody's stopping counting nothing. Because those people stood in line to vote. Those people sent their ballot in advance to vote. Ballots have been postmarked, stamped. They got there in time. Well, they didn't get there in time, but that their postmark, that stamp is on there. It's stamped and it's dated, and it was before the actual election. Well, guess what? They count. So we have to actively stay engaged and make sure that it's laws on the book, so things like this won't keep happening systematically in the future as it pertains to our election process. So let me refresh on this. Let's do the refresh on these results. And still got Biden at 264 and Trump at 214. 270 is the threshold. Joe Biden is still up in Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Alaska is still out there, as well as North Carolina. So everybody's still counting. So for me, it's worth it to continue to count because, like I said, people voted, and we're going to be fair. We're going to be fair across the board. We're not going to slide anybody and not count anyone's ballot who voted. That's what we're not going to do as U.S. citizens and as America. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to have respect of persons. We're not doing that. You treat this person like they the cream de la creme, and you treat the next person like they trash. We're not doing that. So Biden is still at 264. Trump is still at 214. And like I said, in that factoring in, Nevada, like I said, the way that they counting and doing what they do is going to take forever. It's going to take it seems like almost forever. Georgia, 99% in. It's going to be an automatic recount because it's within that margin. It's within that percentage. Pennsylvania, they were talking about because it's so close to, that'll be a automatic recount too. Seems like they're because it's so close, and if it stays as close as it is, then that'll be a recount. North Carolina, Trump is still up, so seems like that's going to go for him. And in Alaska, Trump is definitely winning by a landslide in that, so that's 3 electoral college votes. That seems like it's going to swing his way. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The numbers not going to lie. Like I said, the numbers don't lie, people do. Math is always solvable. Numbers not going to lie. They can recount till they turn blue in the face. It's still not going to change the numbers because the numbers are not going to lie. It's going to be what it's going to be, period. Even though I am in agreement to recounts because of the tobacco that happened between Bush and Gore years ago. So but here it is. Here it is again. So yep, continue to count. Right, G Money, you said it's a wrap. That's why I got it in the title. They can file all the lawsuits they want to file. We're a litigating nation over here. It's not going to change the numbers. That's not going to change the numbers. That's not going to change the vote. See, and the thing about the absentee ballot is this. Russia been over here. Let me get to that article real quick. Since Russia wanted to be game and they interfered in our 2016 election process on behalf of Donald Trump, and they tried it again. Iran and Russia this year on behalf of Donald Trump. One thing that their hands could not get a hold to were those absentee ballots. See, you can mess over the systems. You can mess with the networks. You can mess with the internet. So again, G Money, math is solvable. Numbers gonna be the numbers at the end of the day. Period. It's a wrap. That's why I got it in there. It's still a wrap. It's gonna be a wrap. Continue to count. The numbers is coming in from the population, from the Black areas, from the urban areas, from the Democratic areas. That's where the numbers being ran up at, where people was heavily concentrated and populated at. They have more numbers than everybody else in the state. Majority of the people live there. That's what the population size is. So that's not going to change the numbers. But I do want them kind of, like I said, continue to count, because we you know, they can continue to file their lawsuits and try to say whatever, but whatever. Whatever. You're not going to sit up and call somebody and say somebody had an illegal ballot. The Secretary of State prints the ballots. They have to do the printout on the ballots. State and local. This is going to be a local election. Locally is done. If it's going to be statewide election, I don't care how it's done. It still has to go through the Secretary of State. Period. All the way around. So it's not going to change the numbers. I want to show this real quick, because I said this is about cyber war. When you get other nations hacking you, attacking your systems, your network, that's war. That's a cyber war. They've declared war on you. And so let me do the share on this, because you still got people, Russia and other people, still interfering in the election process over here, who have attempted to be so heavy-handed, as well as some other nations, in our election process over here. Like I said, this is a democracy. This is not a communist nation. So here it is. Video of ballot stuffing is not from Flint polling. It is from Russia. So this was going around earlier, that ballot stuffing was taking place at a Flint, Michigan polling site. No, it was not. See, you get these fake articles out here. No, a red wagon did not smuggle invalid ballots into Detroit. See, you get all these fake articles out here. You get this fake news. You get these lies out here. You get this misinformation out here. And this is what they're trying to clamp down on. You know, that ballot stuffing was done in Russia. Be sure. I said there is no place inside of Michigan that I've ever been to that looks like this. No place. So, you know, right here. Michigan don't have no places that look like this on the inside. Let me blow it up a little bit more. So you can see it. Michigan. We don't have any places in Michigan that look like this on the inside. We don't have any voting locations that look like this or counting locations that look like this on the inside at any place in Michigan. And this right here, this red, that's Russian. That's their stuff. That's their symbol. But you get people talking about they were stuffing ballots in Flint, Michigan at a polling site. No, they wasn't. Don't no polling site in Michigan look like this on the inside. Not a single one. So we just have to be, it's been, like I said, Donald Trump out of office won't be missed. He will not be missed by me. That's why I got entitled again by. He will not be missed. He won't be missed. No. You know, all that, you know, it's too much lying that took place. Too much foolishness that took place. Making a mockery out of serious things. That's not cute and it's not funny. So he won't be missed. Not by me. Not at all. So, like I said, we just have to remain vigilant, stay actively engaged. Whoever gets elected, you have to hold their feet to the fire. They don't do what they're supposed to do. You recall, get them out. And you have to watch everything they are doing. Because they will tell you all day long, we did this for you, and it won't be nothing for you. So we know we have to do that too. We have to hold them accountable. But yeah, John, he been had him in though. John says you're gonna wait and then you'll deal with the mess after the recounts take place. You said then you'll deal with the mess then. My God. Oh my goodness. John said he'll deal with the mess then. Okay, that's what I wanted to come on and show is that Biden took the lead in the popular vote in Georgia and in Pennsylvania, and he's still up. They just reported on the news again, crunched, ran some more numbers. Some of these social media sites have been slow to update the numbers in real time. So I say what I said. I still say it's a wrap. It was a wrap for me days ago. Wrap this up. And then saying wrap it up, that doesn't mean stop doing the work, stop counting. No, we're not doing that. Like I said, this is a democracy. So let me be clear about that. So John said he just gonna deal with it after they get done for real with all account. He'll deal with it then. deal with it. That's funny. Oh, that is funny. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go back to, and it is unfortunate, John. It's funny, but it's funny though. So I'm gonna go back to the music and I'm gonna wrap it up. My stance hasn't changed, and like I said, I've never come out and just said XYZ before. But when you go back and you run the numbers county by county, I was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You look at what's out and you look at what had to be tallied. You look at how the ballot was written up, partisan, nonpartisan, straight ticket party ballots. Wrap it up because the math don't lie. Numbers not gonna lie. So with that being said, we'll go back into the music. That's what I wanted to say. Remember to stay vigilant, everybody. Go back into it. We still waiting. Election music right here.
I'm living a lavish lifestyle in a luxury suite. Can you dig it? I'm just a fella on the street.
This is just a street vibe.
Toss me a lob, I'm on the job, I'm hard at work. Freesia, my crossover show with Freesia, teacher. Just a minute, you know I've been down ever since I came up in it. They call me the pick of the litter, the big game spitter. Uncle Boo said, get him Snoop Dogg, so I bit him.
Right on. Okay. And like I said, numbers don't lie. I understand what you're saying though. But like I said, I'm one of them cautious people. And so when I said it was a wrap, it's because the math is not gonna lie. You ain't gonna be able to change the math. I said everybody else looking like there. I gotta go county by county. I gotta run population size. I gotta look at demographics. I gotta look at registered voters, new registered voters, first time voters. So with that being said, thank you all for streaming so much. But remember this, don't stress out over this. For people who are having some type of stress or anxiety, that's not gonna change nothing. That ain't gonna do nothing but release a bunch of toxins and poisons into your system. Don't stress out over it. Don't be anxious about it. Don't let it stress you out, you know, because it's not gonna change nothing. All it's gonna do is release some into your body that don't need to be there. So with that being said, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Thanks for streaming, everybody. Have a good one. We just gotta continue to be patient. Patience is a virtue. Have a pleasant night, everybody.